session. So let us begin with today's session. Today, as you all know, is the day one of our Excel training series, Basic Excel to Advanced Excel, where I will be taking you in a step-by-step manner right through the nuances, the concepts, the small things to be considered while applying your functions and formulae in order to basically analyze your data, organize your data in a better manner. And here let me start with the hierarchy of Excel. So the first thing which I'm going to speak to you is the most basic thing, which is the hierarchy of Excel, which is what is Excel made up of. Now Excel, as we all know, is a spreadsheet program which is made up of a combination of columns and rows. The vertical structures are called columns, whereas the horizontal structures are called rows. When a column and a row intersect, it creates something unique, which is called as a cell. Each cell is unique and has a particular name, and you can see the name of the cell in the name box. To the left side corner, you have something which is called the name box. The name box shows you the name of the cell, and the cell is the smallest unit in MS Excel. The name of the cell is got from the combination of the column and the row. When the column and the row intersect, it creates a unique entity which is called as a cell. Each cell is unique and each cell has a name. For example, this particular cell is formulated by the combination of column R and row 4, and hence the name of the cell is R4. So the smallest unit of Excel is a cell. What do you think this is called? Anyone in the chat, what do you think this is called? What is this yellow area called? What is this yellow area called? What is this collection of cells called? Anyone? Come on, anyone. What is this yellow area called? What is this yellow area called? Anyone? Come on, anyone. What do you all think? What is this yellow area called? There are no right or wrong answers. Just tell me, what do you all think this yellow selection is called? Is there one cell in this or there are many cells in this? Tell me. Is there one
Conditional
cell?
formatting?
You can call it formatting, right? You can call this formatting. Now tell me, what is this called? What is the selection called? Is this one cell or is it many cells? Chetan sir, Adil sir, anyone would like to answer? Many cells, absolutely right. Now, what is many cells called in Excel? Anyone? What is many cells called in Excel? Many cells in Excel is called as a range of cells. So right now what you are seeing over here is also a range of cells, and the reason I put color on it so that I exactly know which range I am referring to. The reason I put a color on it so that I know. This range is denoted by the first cell of the first column. So Q9 is to U14. So how is it written? Q9 is to U14, and it includes all the cells here. It includes all the cells here. Is it clear? Any questions? It includes all the cells in between. Now, when we talk about a range of cells, when a range of cells is selected, how many active cells are there? Can anyone tell me? When a range of cells is selected, how many active cells are there? Can you tell me? When a range of cells is selected, how many active cells are there? Anyone? Now, when a range is selected, there is only one active cell. Can you see the cell? Q9. In fact, if I select here and do Control A is the keyboard shortcut to select this entire range of cells. And currently also, only this cell K10 is the active cell. So, though the whole sheet may be selected, though the whole range may be selected, but at any given time, there is only and only one active cell. So, at any given time, there's only one active cell. In fact, it is that active cell in which you put your formulae or your function or you start typing inside that. Now, let me ask you a question. After a cell, we had range of cells. After the range of cells, what do you think is the next hierarchy? I've given you a hint. I've made a selection. What is the next hierarchy? What is the next hierarchy? What is the next hierarchy? Tell me, what is the next hierarchy? It is a, what is it? Anyone? It is a sheet. So the next hierarchy is an Excel sheet. So can you see this referencing? This is one sheet. Can you see insurance data? This is another sheet. Sample superstore, another sheet. So all of these are sheets and each sheet has a name. All of these are sheets and each sheet has a name. If you want to change the color of a sheet, you can double click on the sheet. I repeat, you can double click on the sheet, remove the name by using backspace and type in the new name. Or you could right click using your mouse and click on rename. In both cases, you will be able to give your Excel sheet a name. Now, many sheets make up an Excel workbook. Many sheets make up an Excel workbook. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think, I repeat, do you think I sent you an Excel workbook or did I send you an Excel sheet? What have I sent you to practice on? Quickly, for purpose of practice, what have I sent you?
Workbook.
Correct. Oh, so I have sent you an Excel workbook. So now you know the hierarchy of Excel, a cell, a range of cells, an Excel worksheet, and then many sheets which comprise and make up an Excel workbook. Now let us go to normal writing of functions and formulas. I'm going to write some numbers here. Okay, and I'm going to give you two options. Okay, option A and option B. You need to tell me which option is correct. Two options. In first option, I'll do this. I'll write is equal to 15 plus 25 plus 35. I got my answer. In option 2, I'll again begin with equal to, but here I will write sum, open bracket, select 15, comma, select 25, comma, select 35. Close the bracket, hit enter, and here is the answer. Now tell me between both of these methods, which method is the correct method of doing things, and why do you think it is the correct method of doing things?
Option B.
Option B is the correct method. Okay. Why do you think option B is correct method? Can anyone elaborate, please?
Because we have used Excel formula to get the
Yes. Yes. What is
value.
the other advantage of using option B?
We will get, if the cells are very less, but in case the data is more, we can use a formula to get the entire value at one
Correct.
go.
Yes. So the other advantage is suppose this changes to 1900. In option A, because we have hard coded it with individual values and not use something which is called as cell referencing or referring to a cell or pointing to a cell, the value in the cell is not changing in option A. But because here we are pointing, we are clicking on the cell, or as we are saying, we're selecting, the value in the cell will change. So option B is also called relative cell referencing. This method of referring to cells or pointing to a cell is called as relative cell referencing. It is the default cell referencing of MS Excel, which is used to copy and create formulas. So when we do a relative cell referencing, it is always the default cell referencing. Okay. When the value in the cell changes, automatically the formula will auto update itself, and this is used to copy and to create multiple formulas. So whenever you need to write any formula, rather than hard coding it, it always opt for referring to cells, pointing to cells, or using something which is called as referencing. Let us go to the first sheet over here, which is called as referencing sheet, where we will be practicing cell referencing. I hope you all have the data handy so that together we can work on the sheet. If you don't have the data handy, I'll just give you 1 minute to quickly get your data together. So for those who've not saved the file at an accessible place, go to the email, quickly download and save the file so that we can start using the file. Once you have the file ready, send me a message in the chat, file ready, and let's get started. Come on. Let me know when the file is ready, everyone. Requesting participants to rename themselves so that I know what your names are, because we will be taking attendance at the end of the session. Everyone has the data ready? Okay, thank you, Adil sir. Everyone has the data ready? Okay, super. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So now let's get started. Now, in order to calculate the revenue, we will first understand the data. In column 1, we have the product names. In the second column, we have the year. In the third column, we have the quantity. And in the fourth column, we have the cost. At the combination of the quantity and the cost, we can calculate the revenue. So quantity multiplied by cost will give you the revenue. In order to find out the revenue, let us begin with an equal to sign. Always start applying the formulae just below the label. When you start applying the formulae just below the label, it will help you in order to get the whole column completed with appropriate formulas. Begin with an equal to sign, select quantity, multiplied by, select the cost, hit enter. Now come to the corner of the cell and drag it down. Come to the corner of the cell and drag it down. You will see that it completes the whole table for you. So you have quantity, cost, quantity, cost. Now here you can see that I could multiply the quantity by the cost and I could complete column F without an error. But when I decide to calculate 6% of my revenue, see what happens, is equal to revenue multiplied by 6%. Revenue multiplied by 6%. Here, I got my answer correct. But when I go to the corner and I drag it down, you'll see an error. This is nothing but a cross-reference error. See what is happening. This value is multiplying here. Okay. But this value is multiplying by 9,180. And the lower value is multiplied by this. So all of the references are going at a cross. I repeat, all of the references are going at a cross. What is my requirement? My requirement is that every value in my revenue column, I repeat, every value in my revenue column should only be multiplied by this 6%. I repeat, every value in this column should only be multiplied by this 6% cell. In order to do this, I will need to use the dollar sign to lock this particular cell. So how will I lock it? Dollar before the column and dollar before the row. So when I say dollar $G, so I'm locking the column. $4, I'm locking the row. So in short, when I lock the column and I lock the row, I end up locking the cell. That way, every value in F column will only get multiplied by this 6% cell. So how will I do it? Begin with an equal to sign. Select the first cell and refer to it for the revenue. Multiplied by, click on this 6% cell and refer. Now what I will do is, I will do function F4 in order to lock it. You can use F4 directly. You can use the function key F4 directly. If your function keys work fine without anything else. But if your function keys do not work alone, then you will need to use function and F4 in order to lock the cells. So what will you do? You will use $G, $4 in order to lock the cell G4, which has the value that is 6% inside it. Enter. This value is correct. It was correct in the previous instance also. But now when I come to the corner and I either decide to double click it or I decide to drag it down, it will only show me whether my concept of putting the dollar sign was correct. And here you can see that the whole thing has been done properly. You can see that the whole thing has been done properly. Even my arrow keys have got dragged, okay, which is not required. So it has copied my arrow keys also, which is not something that I wanted to do. So what I will do is I will select one arrow key, hold down Control and select the last arrow key and try and delete the arrow keys. So we don't need the arrow keys. I am removing the arrow keys. The arrow keys were only used in order to show you how the reference is moving. Now that you have understood and you have understood the use of the dollar sign, you don't need the arrow key. Let me show this to you one more time and then you can try it out. Begin with an equal to sign, select the value, multiplied by 6%. And when we are referring to the 6% cell, I'll put an F4 or a function F4 in order to lock the column and the row and thereby lock the cell so that when I drag the formulae down, my reference does not change. Extending the same concept forward, I will do it for this column as well. Please try everyone and let me know when you are complete. Let me show you for the 8.30% of the revenue. Let me show you for the 8.30% of the revenue. Begin with an equal to sign, select the revenue, use the multiplication sign, click and refer to the 8.30 cell, use the dollar sign to lock it, enter and come to the corner and drag the formula down. Please try this everyone. If you have any questions or any queries, let me know. Okay, great. Thank you, Manisha ma'am. Thank you, Chirag sir. Thank you for the message that you have completed. Now let us go to the total. Yes, sure. I'll repeat the last one. So for the last one, we go to the cell which is H5. And now if you see H5 is my active cell. When a cell is your active cell, we begin by typing in a function or formulae in this active cell. Begin with an equal to sign, select the revenue, multiplied by, refer to 8.30, use F4 to lock the cell, Press enter. Come to the corner of the cell and drag. Let me know if you all are done, and then we can go to the total. In order to calculate the total, it is nothing but the sum of the revenue column. I repeat, it is nothing but the sum of the revenue column. So begin with an equal to sign, write sum, open bracket, select your revenue column, close bracket, and enter. And this is the sum of your revenue column. Now, what is the advantage of taking the reference? If my quantity or my cost changes, my revenue will change, and thereby my total will also get changed. I repeat, if my quantity or my cost changes, my revenue will also change, and thereby my total will also change. Let me know if you all are done with this, and then we will go to the minimum function, which is called as the min function. For the minimum function, we have something which is called as the min. Now, what does the min or the minimum function do? If you have a range of cells, minimum function will remove the lowest or the least value from this range and give it to you. So suppose you have, here we have 10 entries. Suppose you have 10,000 entries also. Minimum function will give you the minimum or the least value from this particular range. Minimum function will give you the minimum or the least or the smallest value from the range of cells. Start with an equal to sign and write the name of the function min. Once you write the function name, open the bracket, and now you can start going ahead. Is equal to min, open bracket. Select the range of cells, close bracket, enter, and this is the minimum value from this range of cells. This is the minimum value from the range of cells. Then we have the maximum value. Maximum value is the opposite of minimum value. So if minimum gives you the least or the smallest value from a range of cells, maximum gives you the maximum or the most value from a range of cells. Is equal to max, open bracket. Is equal to max, open bracket. Select the range of cells, close bracket, hit enter, and this is the maximum value from this particular range of cells. So what is max? Max is nothing but the maximum value from a particular range of cells. Min gives you minimum value or the smallest value or the least. This gives you the most value. Correct? Please try these and let me know when you complete in the chat box. Okay, thank you. Let us now go to the average value. Does anyone know how average is calculated? Can anyone explain in chat box how is average calculated? Yes, average and range. But when we talk about average, what does average function do? Average function is nothing but your total divided by your number. This is what takes place behind the scenes. But here we have the function is equal to average, open bracket, select the range of cells, bracket closed, enter, and this is giving you the average value from this particular range of cells. What is it giving you? The average value from this particular range of cells. Please try it, everyone. Okay, super. Thank you. Now, suppose I tell you I have 5,000 cells and I want the fourth largest value or the second smallest value. Do you think you will sit and manually do it? No, you will not sit and manually do it. Instead, you will make use of the small and the large function. You will make use of the small and the large function. Now, from a range of cells, small gives you the smallest value. So, if you have a range of cells, small function will give you the smallest value from this particular range of cells. So, what will small function do? It will give you the second smallest value or the third smallest value or the fifth. Now, if you have 10 numbers and you need smallest value, third smallest or fifth smallest, from 10 numbers you can look and maybe do it manually also. But if you have 10,000 numbers, doing the second or the third or the fourth largest value manually is just not going to seem possible. And that is why we need the small function. What does the small function do? It looks up the range. And within the range, you can say which smallest value do you want. So begin with an equal to sign, write small, open the bracket. Array stands for data or database or your range of cells. Select. Second part is there is comma as a separator between different parts of your formula. Comma. Now, can you see K is highlighted? K is highlighted because K stands for number. So, do you want second smallest value, third smallest value, fourth smallest value? So, I will say 2 because I want second smallest value from this particular range of cells. So, I will say 2 because it will give me the second smallest value from this particular range of cells. Enter. And this is the answer. Is it clear, everyone? Any questions? Please try this much, everyone. Okay, super. Thank you. Now, the opposite of small is large. The opposite of small is large. So what does the large function do? If the small function gives you second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, smallest value, the large function will give you the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh largest value from a range of cells. Writing methodology is exactly the same. Begin with equal to sign, write large open bracket. Begin with equal to sign, write large open bracket. Select the range of cells, comma, and write 4 because 4 stands for large, fourth largest. So 4 stands for fourth largest. So write 4 and hit enter. This has given me the fourth largest and the second smallest. Now suppose using large function, I want this value, the maximum value. What will be the value of k when I want maximum value? Okay, suppose I want to look up the range and I want the maximum value. What will be the value of k? I repeat, if I am looking up the range and I want the topmost maximum value or the largest value, then what will be the value of k? I want the maximum value, but not with max function, with large function. Please try everyone and think and tell me what will be the answer, and then we'll do a test over here. Can anyone tell me what will be the value of k? What will be the value of k if I want to use the large function to calculate the maximum or the max? Anyone? Yes, it will be that much, but what will be the value of k? So see this. Has anyone given the answer? No, not 4. See over here is equal to large open bracket. Is equal to large open bracket. What is the range? This is the range. Comma. Now what will be the value of k if I want the maximum value? It will be 1. When the value of k is 1, it will give me, correct Manisha, good work. It will give me the topmost maximum value, which is nothing but 448 and 5000. So in this way, you have realized that though we are using certain functions and formulae, we can also modify those functions and formulae to get what we need. To get what we need. Please try everyone, and once you all are done, let me know. We can go ahead with exploring other topics. Please try everyone. Are we done, everyone? Completed? Yes. Okay, let us go ahead. Perfect, super, thank you. Now let us go to understanding what is clear, what is clear content, what is clear all, and what is clear formatting. When we want to clear formatting, we mean that we want to clear the bold, we want to clear italic, underline, and we want to clear certain colors of cells. Okay. Now here, if I come here and I write name, if I come here and write name, age, salary, depart. If I do something like this, you can see the other types of formatting as well, which I have not applied it, but they are present, they are explicit. This is known as formatting based on a condition. So you have decided certain cells and you are putting formatting to those particular cells. So you've decided that this block of cells will be green color, it will be bold, italic, underline, and the font color will be black. These are some of the things that you have decided, and based on that, this is what you create. If I select this chunk and I come to this editing eraser button, and I come to this editing eraser button, if I say clear all, everything will go up. If I say clear all, everything, that means this coloring will also go, any possible text will also go, any other form of formatting which I cannot see explicitly, that will also go. But what will be remained? The contents will be remained. So when I clear all, everything goes away. When I clear formats, the formatting is retained, everything else goes away. When I clear hyperlinks, the hyperlinks and the comments will be retained, everything else will be lost. So clear is a very powerful tool. Now, if you want to apply clear in a multiple manner or double, you can come and hold my hand and you can apply clear. So what will I do for that? You can go to, you can come here and you can select it and you can apply these formatting related attributes to your work. So you can come here and you can copy it and you can paste the formatting related attributes to your data. Now, in this sheet, whenever we wrote a formula or a function, if you saw very carefully, there was always the use of some form of reference. So there was either a relative cell reference or you were relying on someone for something else. So always referencing has been observed whenever you try to remove formatting or you try to perform any kind of cleanup in terms of your data. Any questions, any queries, let me know. Please try everyone and let me know when you're done. Please try everyone. Once you all are done, give me a heads up in the chat box so that we can proceed. Let us first begin by clearing this column. Select this, and if I clear on clear all, the formatting, the font, that is name, as well as the coloring will all go. But instead of that, if I come here and I say clear formats, only the formatting related attributes will go away. All the other things will be read. See this? Similarly, if I click here and I say clear contents, only the text name will go away. The border will be retained. The color of the table will be retained. The absence of borders will also be retained. So when I do a clear contents, it clears the value in the cell but allows the formatting or the structure to be as it is. Is it clear, everyone? And now when I go into this cell, it accepts any kind of data but with that particular formatting in mind. Please try this, everyone. Clear all, clear contents, and clear formats, clear contents, and clear all. Please try this out, everyone, from the editing tab. I'm keeping it open for your reference. Please try it, everyone. Let us go ahead, everyone. Let us go ahead, everyone. Let us continue with the topic. Has everyone finished practicing? Clear contents, clear all, as well as clear formatting. Okay? Okay, good work. Thank you so much, everyone, for reverting. Good work. Okay, now let us go ahead and let us now talk about this particular sheet, which is called as the insurance data sheet. It is the second sheet in the Excel workbook that has been shared with you all. Now, in this Excel workbook, which has been shared with you all, the next topic which we are going to cover today is called as the table tool. Now, what does this table tool do? This table tool enables you to represent your data. I repeat, the table tool enables you to represent your data in tabular format. The table tool enables you to represent your data in tabular format. That is in the form of columns and rows. But before we start using table tool, can anyone over here who has already used table tool tell me some of the advantages of using the table tool? Can anyone tell me some of the advantages of using the table tool? Anyone from chat? Quickly, what are the advantages? There are at least good 8 to 10 advantages. There are at least 8 to 10 advantages. There are at least 8 to 10 advantages of using table tool or having data in tabular format. Let me begin with the first thing. Your data gets very, very quickly formatted. That means you'll have row headers, column headers, you'll have proper banded rows, banded columns. So basically a tabular type, nice look and feel, and a formatting for the table. So the first thing is format. Second thing is you can sort plus filter the data very quickly. I repeat, you can sort and filter your data very, very quickly. That is the second. The third thing is when you scroll within the data, the headers don't get lost. When you scroll within your data, your headings do not get lost. The headings remain there as it is as you're scrolling within the data. The next thing is it uses $sign when created, and hence it is absolute in nature. What do I mean by absolute? Even if I refer to it in a VLOOKUP or any other function or formulae, my reference will not change. That means if I refer to the table in any function or any formulae, my reference will not change. The next usage of the pivot of the Table 2 list. Pivot table can be created. So pivot table can be created very, very quickly. The next advantage is you can have a slicer to visually filter your table. We can have a slicer which will allow you to visually filter your table. So the slicer acts as a visual filter which will allow you to visually filter your table. Can anyone think of any other advantages of using? Yes, we get a total row at the end where we can get like an analysis of the sum or the count, minimum or the maximum of the average of a range of cells. In order to create a table, we will go within the data set, Control A. Now, when you do Control A outside anywhere, it will select the whole sheet. I repeat, the Control A keyboard shortcut can be used in two different ways. If within a data set, you go and do a Control A, it will select the whole data sheet. But if inside a block or inside a table or inside certain column headers and data, you do Control A, it will select the whole data or the whole sheet till where the data exists. So Control A within a data set will select the whole data set. Control A within a data set will select the whole data set. Now, we can either do a Control T keyboard shortcut. I repeat, we can either do a Control T, which is keyboard shortcut, or we can go into Insert and click on Table. Keyboard shortcut Control T or Insert Table will give me the same Create Table dialog box. Either ways, I will get the same Create Table dialog box. So where is the data for your table? So the table data has been selected. And while selecting the table data, you will see that the $ has been used. You will see that the $ has been used. Also, when you look very, very carefully, you will see that the table has certain header rows. So the columns of data will have headings. So each column will have a different headings, which is known as table headers. So since the table or the data to be represented in tabular format has headers, you will have to check this box. When you check this box, you are telling Excel that the table has headings and you need to consider these headings while generating your table. Scenario 2. Suppose your table does not have headers. So suppose this particular first row was not there and directly the data started from switch out, old, 6.695 units, fund bazaar. So there was no label on the top. In that case, you will uncheck this. By unchecking this, you are intimating Excel or telling Excel that your data does not have headers. And in a scenario like this, when your data does not have headers, Excel will put its own headers and give you with the name of column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on. So based on the number of columns your data has, Excel will keep adding headers to your data in the name of column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on. But here, in this case, the data has headers. So I will say my data has headers. If your data has headers, Third scenario, and you still enable headers by Excel. You allow Excel to add the headers. In that case, your headers will become your first row of data and Excel will put headers and give you. But here, since there are headers, I am saying my data as headers and saying OK. Immediately you will see that a formatting or a color coding will come around your data. As you scroll within your data, your labels will be intact. Your table will get a name called table 2. We can eventually rename it to any other name, but without space. We can come here and start changing the color combination of the table. Can you all please try this much? Can everyone please try this much? Everyone go for it, please try this much. Yes, how is it going? Everyone is managing to practice? Okay, superb. So everyone has got data which is in table format. Let us see the first thing. Formatting has come. Yes. Sorting and filtering. So let us go here in city type. Click here. And can you see we can sort it and we can filter it? Can anyone tell me what is the difference between sorting data and filtering data? Can anyone tell me the difference between sorting data and filtering data? Anyone? What is the difference between sorting data and filtering data? What is the difference between what is sorting data, what is filtering data, or what is the difference? Can anyone tell me? Yes, no? Give it a shot. Okay. Sorting data is basically arranging your data. I repeat, sorting data is basically arranging your data. You can arrange your data in ascending order. You can also arrange your data in descending order. So sorting is arranging data in ascending order or in descending order. Filtering data is seeing a part of your data. Which part of your data? The part that you would like to see. So what is filtering data? Filtering data is seeing parts of your data. So in filtering data, what happens is we are seeing parts of the data. So we don't see the whole data, we see a condensed version of the data. So basically, it is safe to say that in case of filtering, the volume of the data gets affected. It is safe to say that in case of filtering, the volume of the data gets affected. It is safe to say that in case of filtering, the volume of the data gets affected. Let us go further now and let us talk about how we are going to sort the data. So first, based on units, let me sort the data. To sort the data based on units, I'm going to click here and I'm going to say sort smallest to largest. Now, since I'm in the column C, which is also called the units column, if I say sort smallest to largest, it will sort based on the number of units in ascending order. I repeat, it will sort based on the number of units in ascending order based on this particular column. So click on this and here you can see the smallest values on top, and as you scroll down, you will then start seeing your larger values. Is it clear, everyone? Come here, and from here, I'm going to click here. When the data is sorted, I repeat, when your data is sorted, you will see over here a symbol comes, which shows that your data has been sorted. When you sort your data, you will see a symbol, and if the symbol is upward arrow, sure. So I'm going to come here in this column C, which is the number of units column. And when I click here and I go and sort in ascending order or smallest to largest, it will sort based on number of units in ascending order. If I say sort largest to smallest, again it will sort based on largest to smallest for the number of units called. So when we sort data, the whole row moves up or the whole row moves down, but the quantity of the data or the volume of the data remains fixed. So sorting, we can safely say, does not affect the volume of your data. You will also see a symbol here, if you see, pointing in the downward direction. Earlier, it was pointing in the upward direction. When we sort in ascending order, the arrow points in the upward direction. When we sort in descending order, the arrow points in downward direction. Please try this, everyone. I want you to sort based on units, then sort on transaction type. Come on. Sort based on number of units, then sort based on trans type. Please try, everyone. Once you all are done with the 2 questions on sorting, let me know. We will go ahead. Yes, superb. Good job, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, let us go now to filtering data. Now, if you notice, when you filter the data, you do not see all the rows of data. You see gaps in the numbering. You'll see 1, 2, 3, then you'll see 7, 8, 9, then you'll see 13, 14, then you'll see 18, 19, 20. Why are these kind of gaps seen when you filter the data? These kind of gaps are seen when you filter the data because filtering affects the volume of the data. So in case of filtering, the volume of the data gets affected. I repeat, in case of filtering, the volume of the data gets affected. So filtering, in short, affects the volume of your data. Let us come and filter the data first based on something which is very, very simple. That is, let us filter based on column E, and we want to sieve out or only see the data for Funds Bazaar. So go in the online column, click here, uncheck everything and only check Funds Bazaar. When I do that, I am only choosing Funds Bazaar for the filter, and hence I will only be seeing the data for Fund Bazaar. Now, when you filter the data, you will see the symbol for filter. What was the symbol for sorting? Arrow, upward arrow, downward arrow. What is the symbol for filter? You will see the sieve icon, which shows that the data has been filtered. which shows that the data has been filtered. So basically, the volume of the data is affected here. The volume of the data is affected here. Please try and filter to show Funds Bazaar, and you also notice the changes in the row numbers. 1, 10, 15, 16, 19, 21, 23, 22, 24, 25. Yes? How will you clear the filter? Just go under this, drop down, and can you see clear filter from online? Clear filter from online will enable you to remove your filter from this particular column. Clear filter from online will enable you to remove your filter from this particular column. Please try this, everyone. And once we're done, I will then introduce you to something which is called as number filters. Number filters, as the name suggests, or filter by condition, enables you to filter based on a condition or a criteria. For example, when this is sorted, the number of units column. I repeat, when the number of units column is sorted in ascending order, you will see there are numerous negative values in number of units. If I would like to apply a filter to the column units or to column C, I will come to the drop down here and I will say number filters and I will say greater than. When I say greater than, I will write the number 0. So basically, I am looking at units which are greater than 0. By saying number of units greater than 0, I am indirectly talking about number of units which are positive in nature, because greater than 0 means it should be positive in nature, and I would only like to include positive values. So greater than 0 and click on OK. And here in the column, you will see number of units more than 0. Is it clear? Any questions? Please try this under numbers, number filters, greater than. Please try, everyone. Okay, good job, everyone. How will you clear the filter? Clearing of the filter is exactly the same. You will click on the units column and you will click on clear filter from units. Now, if you have noticed something, the clear filter button only gets activated or only gets active after you have applied the filter. So basically, when the filter is not applied, clear filter is off. When the filter is not applied, clear filter is off. It is only when the filter is on, you will see the clear filter button activated. So basically, if no filter is applied, like this, now there's no filter on the data. How can you check? Because there's no sieve icon anywhere. There's no filter symbol anywhere. Also, the rows are in proper order. Now, can you see clear filter is disabled? This shows that only when a filter is applied does the clear filter option get activated. Let us try one more where we will look for net asset value or NAV between 100 to 200. I repeat, let us look for net asset value between 100 to 200. Click on the drop down, say number filters, between, and let me write here 100, and let me write here 200. So when we write over here between, it is actually looking for greater than or equal to 100. So that is starting point. But it should be less than or equal to 200. And that is how my between is decided. So there will be one lower limit and there will be one upper limit. And it will only consider values between the two limits. Click on OK. And here now there is a filter applied on the net asset value for values which are between 100 to 200. Please try this example as well. The next example I'm going to consider is a text filter. And I will look for a particular string. I will look for a particular string of text, which is called as SIP, because there is SIP, there is also ESIP, there is SWT SIP. So there are many permutations and combinations of SIP. And that is why in the transaction column, I am going to apply a filter for SIP. So click on the drop down and from here, go to text filters. Now, for those of you who have noticed, when I'm in a numeric value column, I get number filters. But when I am in a text value column or in a alphabetical type column, which has string data type or which has text characters, you will see the text filter activated. I repeat, when I am in the number value column, you will see number filters. But when I'm in a column which has text, you will see text filters. Click on text filter and over here I will see contains. What does contains mean? See, there are different ones. There is begins with. It will look for something that you want your instances to begin with. There is ends with, which will look for items that you want it to end with. Then there is contains. What does contain stand for? Contain stands for it should contain this particular string of text. It could be in the beginning of the text. It could be in the middle of the text. It could be at the end. But it should contain these three words, SIP. Click on contains and here I will write SIP. Click on OK. And now you will see SIP and you will see ESIP, all of them. And here the symbol for filter to show that you have applied a text filter which contains a particular string of text. Please try, everyone. Sure, I'll repeat it. I'll just clear the filter. These particular text filters are very useful. Suppose you have things like a certain series of codes, or you're looking for a particular like a particular combination of alphanumeric items within a larger like a very large database. In that case, you will use the text filter. What does the text filter do? The text filter will enable you in order to sieve out a particular string of text. So in the transaction type column, I'm going to click here on this drop down, click on text filters, click on contains, And here I'm going to write SIP. Contains means I'm looking for SIP somewhere in the string. It could be at the beginning of the string, it could be at the middle of the string, it could be at the end. Click on OK. And here you have the string. Click on the drop down here, and this shows that now you have filtered based on a particular string. Please try. If you want to try something similar in city type, you can first remove this filter. Another very important point which I would like to bring to your attention is whenever you are applying a filter, the volume of the data gets affected. Your data is condensed, it is reduced. When you apply the next filter, it is mandatory to remove the previous filter. Otherwise, you will not be getting the true values. You will be getting the second filter based on the first filter. So basically, you will be creating a nested filter scenario. In order to avoid that, what I need you to do is I need you to check whether you have removed the previous filter, and only then you need to go and apply the new filter. So always clear a filter and then apply the next filter. When you apply a filter on an existing filter, you are basically applying a filter to a condensed version or to a shorter version, and the results that you will be receiving will not be authentic. Let me clear the filter and let me take you through some of the other table tool related functionality. Now, only when the table is selected or when you have clicked on any cell within the table, you will see table design. This rule is there for all items that you use in MS Excel. So whether you've made a chart or a pivot table, only when you click on it, you will see this new tab relevant to it. It even works for shape. You draw a shape, but only when the shape or the picture is selected, you will see picture or shape tools. Suppose you don't see it, that doesn't mean that this is not a table. However, when you go inside it, you'll automatically see table design. From table design, we will understand how we can change the name of the table. In order to change the name of the table, you can come and you can type in a new name over here for the table. So you can come here and you can give your table a new name. If you want to change the formatting, you can go to table styles, and there are different options of formatting, ready-made presets which are available, which you can apply and format your data. You can also say whether you want header row or you want banded rows or banded columns. Banded rows and banded columns gives you the feeling of a table, so it's nice to enable them, especially banded rows. If you want your first and last column should be bold, you can enable that. Generally, people do it for the first column if it has important names, or if the last column has certain numeric values, they do it. If you want a total row at the end, you can enable it. And here you have your total row. When you click here on the total row, in the drop down, you have different mathematical functions which can be quickly applied to your table. I repeat, you have different mathematical functions which can be applied to your table. So you can do an average, you can do a count, you can do a maximum or a minimum, you can do a sum. If you're looking at any of these values, you can create that. You can also come here and you can ask for the maximum. So all math related functionality, basically the auto sum function, will be available in the total row. If you want to close the total row, you can simply close it. Please try these options and then I'm going to show you that in a table, though a table is created with the dollar sign, when you add new entries, the table auto updates itself, takes the new entries into condition, and it also increases the expanse of the table. So the table will automatically increase in size. Please try everyone. Okay, great. Now let me come here and let me write SWIP old. I'll just write some number of units, some net asset value. I'll write online sales, enter. Now, when we click on this and we go to table design, we will see the name table 2. If you see, I have added one new entry. And what I will be doing is I will color this entry. The reason I'm coloring it because earlier my table stopped at 28615, correct? This red entry is a new entry I've added. Can you see the name table 2? When I click here on this drop down and I click on table 2, it will automatically select full table 2, correct? Scroll to the end and in your selection, you will also see that the new row which I added for SWIP online sales, which I colored red to draw attention towards it as a newly added row, it automatically got accepted as a part of the table. So another very brilliant feature of the table tool is, or the advantage of having data in tabular format is when new rows of data are added, I repeat, when new rows of data are added, the table automatically increases in size and shows you the newly added rows also in the selection of the table. So first step, you need to close the total row. Close the total row and then go and add a couple of new entries. Close the total row and then go and add a couple of new entries. Please try everyone. Close the total row and add a few entries. Let me know when you all finish adding the new row in the data before I can show you other options related to the table tool. Okay, great. The next very important thing in a table tool is called as the slicer. For those of you who use pivot table will be aware of the fact that in pivot table we have a slicer. We have a slicer or a visual filter in the table tool as well. The slicer enables you to visually filter your data. The slicer enables you to visually filter your data. So under table design, click on Insert Slicer. Under Table Design, click on Insert Slicer, and you will get a list of the column headers on which you can apply slicer. List of column headers on which you can apply a slicer. So click on this, choose transaction type, click on OK, and here I will get this control where I can visually filter my data based on the column transaction type. In order to increase the size of the slicer, I can make it bigger like this. Currently, there is only one column. Can you see column 1? If I come here and I start increasing the number of columns, I will be able to see all the items of the slicer in a better manner. So when the slicer is selected, again, the slicer tab will be active, and under buttons, we can go to columns and we can increase the number of columns of the slicer. We can also change the height of the slicer buttons or the width. Formatting of the slicer, ready-made presets are available, which can be used. Now, when I click on ESIP here, I will only be seeing the data for ESIP. If you see now, the filter symbol appears here because the slicer is nothing but a visual filter. And as you scroll down, you will only be seeing the data for ESIP. In order to clear the slicer, click on this filter symbol. It will clear and remove the slicer. And now I am seeing all of the data because at the moment, none of my column headers have the filter symbol. Please try this much before I can give more details in this slicer option. Good work. Thank you. Okay. Now, once we've applied the slicer, suppose we want to select multiple items. So I want bonus. I also want SIP. Hold down control key and keep select. By holding down the control key, I can multi-select items in my slicer. So hold control on the keyboard and you can select multiple items for your slicer or your visual filter. Clear it, and suppose you want to select everything from bonus till SIP. In case you want to select 8 or 10 items which are adjacent to each other or one after the other, select the first item, hold down Shift and select the last item. When you hold down Shift, you select the first item and the last item. It takes all the other items in between it into consideration. It takes all the other items in between it into consideration. Click on clear and it will clear the slice. Please try control for multiple selection of non-adjacent ones. Shift key to select all of them which are in line one after the other. So control and shift are two things which you need to remember when we are talking about the slice. When the slicer is selected, you can go to the corners and you can increase the size of the slicer, or you can decrease the size of the slicer. When the slicer is selected, you can increase the size of the slicer, or you can decrease the size of the slicer. This is manually how we do for normal shapes when we use PowerPoint or Word. But if you would like to do it from the slicer tab, then you can go to the width and change the width. You can go to the height part and change the height. When you come in size section and there is height and width, this is for whole slicer. So in the size section, the height and the width which is available is to change the size of the slicer. But when we have the buttons which are for the height and the width of when we have the buttons which are there for the height and the width of the buttons, these are the button heights. So the button height can be changed from here. Please try this, everyone. Please try, everyone. Please try this, everyone. Button height, height of the slicer. Manually also you can do. You can do it from the shape also. Depends upon your. Okay, great. Now, in the slicer, you have a slicer caption. That slicer caption is taken from the column on which the slicer has been created. This particular slicer has been created on the transaction type column. I repeat, this particular slicer has been created on the transaction type column. And that is why the slicer name here is transaction type or the slicer caption. If you want to change this name, you can go to slicer caption and you can write transaction TYPE and click anywhere outside. When you do that, this particular name will be saved. I repeat, when you do that, this particular name will be saved and now you will see the new name reflecting in your slicer caption. Now you will see the new name reflecting in your slicer caption. Please try this, everyone. Please try this, everyone. Please try this, everyone. Now I'm going to delete the slicer. I'm going to delete the slicer, and under table design, I'm going to show you how you can convert your data from table format into a range of cells. So basically you are removing the table. So you apply a filter, you clear a filter, correct? Similarly, you can apply a table or you can convert data into table format, and you can remove the table, or in short, convert the data from a table into a range of cells. So what are we going to do here now? We are now going to convert the data from a table into a range of cells. We are now going to convert the data from a table into a range of cells. So select the table, and under table design, you will see convert to range. Now, when we convert the data from a table into a range of cells, it will lose all table functionality. I repeat, it will lose all table functionality. It will no longer be a table, it will be a range of cells. So you will no longer be able to quickly filter, you will no longer be able to apply slicer, you will not be able to like add more rows and the table will increase, you will not get total row at the end. Everything will be lost, all functionality of table except formatting. So the formatting will be the only item retained when you remove the table from table design. So click on table design, click on convert to range. It will give you a pop-up asking you, do you want to convert the table to a normal range of cells? If I say yes over here, you will now see table design is not there. Okay. You will see that filter buttons are not there. Total row is not there. When you click on it, you don't see table name in the name box. You lose all functionality except format. Now, if I tell you I want to remove the formatting from the table, I don't want it. For that, you'll have to do a Control A, go in the editing section, click on format clear option and just say clear format. It will clear all your format. One important point to note here is if you have dates and the dates are formatted, or you have percentage values and they are formatted, it will even remove those formats for you. So if you have any type of formatting, it will clear that for you. And it will give you your data in raw form, the way it was when you received it, with the default style of font, the default color of font, and the default font size. So all functionality will be lost when you convert the table from table into a range of cells. Please try this, everyone. So if they tell you now, I've applied a table, I want to remove the table, you can't remove, you convert it to a range. Converting a table to a range is actually removing the table, right? Please try, everyone. Please try, everyone. Please try, everyone. Any questions, any queries? Did you all try all of it? Did everyone try? Does anyone want table or slicer to be repeated or any part of it to be repeated? Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know you all have completed. Now, when we talk about table, there are certain advantages and there are certain functions where we will be using table. For example, when we do a VLOOKUP across sheets, it's better to have data in table format. So basically, in that case, when we drag the formulae, since in a table the dollar sign is used, the reference will not change and our answers will not get affected. Also, when the data is in table format, we can quickly summarize the data in the form of a pivot table. So creating a pivot table from a table is also a very good option. The advantage here is when more rows of data are added to your table, you only have to go and refresh your pivot table. It will fetch in the new values or the fetch in the new rows of data and give you updated values in your pivot table. So the table is a very, very handy tool. The names of the table can also be seen here in the name box. Also, under the formulae bar, under name manager, you can also see table names along with your named ranges. So under formulae bar, under defined names, under named manager, if you see here table 3 and edited, this is nothing but a table. This is the name of the table and it refers to this selected area. So basically, a table also falls in the category of named ranges. I repeat, tables also fall in the category of named ranges. And that is why table is also very, very important from the perspective of working across sheets within the same workbook. So if you're working on the same sheet and your data is on top or at the side, you quickly go and select the data. But across sheets, having data in table format makes it better to use the table. Table also makes it easier to write functions and formulas because you are writing in a fixed range of cells and it makes it easier to even get new entries when they are added to your table. So basically, if you have a habit where you're getting data on every weekly basis or every 15 days, it is a good practice to save it in the form of a table. And when new entries are added, it will automatically update itself and your table will keep giving you refreshed values to the newly added data. So with that, let me go and let me start taking your attendance. If anyone wants to, me to repeat something or if anyone wants me to revise anything else that we have covered today, please let me know. I will revise it. In case any of the people have not joined in the session, you can request them in order to go and see the recording. The recording will be available from this evening itself so that they can check the recording. User 502, what is your name? User 502, sir, what is your name? Please rename yourself because it will help me giving attendance. User 502, would you be putting your name in chat? Okay, I'll just check. Yes, Ganesh sir. Please rename yourself, for attendance because we are checking. Okay, now our next session will be tomorrow where we will be talking about cleaning up data how to change data which you receive in raw format into a more organized manner, and how can you represent it better. If there's any topic that you would like to be covered in the sessions, please drop me an email. I would be more than happy in order to cover it or in order to include it in the sessions. If you have any other feedback also, we are always open. So please do let me know if there's any feedback, or you can let your team heads know for any other feedback about the session. And I'm looking forward to